Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, a frog to take your calls, a pillow goes blue, and find out the secrets of Vanishing Ink. Trust me, you don't want to miss this episode. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the KickCast, the podcast where we go out, find cool projects, come back and let you know if you should backtrack or sack them. Joining me today is an amazing man, and I wish I could just big brother up his entire house so he could chronicle the life of his family and how amazing of a dad he is. The one and only Drew Tyler. How are you doing today, Drew?
Fantastic. If we could raise the funds, I would let you big brother my house because there's some funny stuff that goes on around here.
The problem is getting enough money where I could convince your wife to want
yeah. I'd be like, $20, you bet. Let's put a camera in every room.
Yeah.
Stacey.
I'd have to convince her. So can I come over with a whole bunch of GoPros and mount them in every corner of your house?
I did recently have a conversation with her where we basically said, "Hey, you should try and find some hobbies that we can share together." And hers was, "Hey, what if we did tennis? We could, I like tennis. Maybe we could try tennis." And I was like, "I like podcasting. Maybe we could try podcasting." So there's a chance.
Why don't you podcast about tennis?
Because I can't play tennis. I don't even think.
Well, that's the whole thing. We could do the journey of Drew Tyler becoming the next Serena Williams, and we will be there, front row and center.
Fantastic idea.
Like U.S. Open, Drew Tyler. I'll be like, I know that guy.
How to raise kids. I mean, that I could teach a thing or two about raising kids. Okay. Anyway,
come on. I just think the world of Drew. Guys, you guys don't know. I have a man crush on Drew. I think it's awesome.
It's apparent. It's okay. It's mutual. It's mutual. We get along quite well. In fact, we have a mandate next week. Did you know that?
Yes, we do.
We're both going to go explore the mini TriCaster and
the TriCaster TX.
The TX, the Skyposaurus thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to see that. But I'm looking forward to hanging out with KT.
I know. I'm excited. I'm going to take work off early to get there on time. It's going to be amazing.
Dirty.
Shh, don't tell my boss.
Okay.
So, if you guys have never seen the show before, like I said, we go out, find cool projects, and sometimes we get the project creators on the show. I'm excited about tonight because we got special guest Scott Weiser and Zach. I forgot what Zach's last name was.
Smith, right?
Zach Spencer on there, and they are
Zach Smith.
Smith. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach. I'm so sorry. On there. But they have a crowdfunding project that is coming up that is amazing, and I fell in love with them. And once you guys hear the interview, you will fall in love with them too and back their project.
Yeah, they just have a great feel. They have a great feel about everything, and it's organic and it feels right, but it's also very brilliant. So yes.
So I'll give you things to come. But first, we're not going to have any news today because the show would go long if we do. But we're going to go into some cool projects. Drew, kick it off with this. I love this, and yeah, I'll put my thoughts in it.
Okay, so this is a project that's pretty simple and easy to follow. I'm not even sure how I found it, but I believe because it was so green, I clicked on it and just started to explore.
I see what you did there. So green.
Phone frog. It was a wild idea. I think I might have even Googled Bluetooth. I think that's what I did. I searched Kickstarter for Bluetooth, and that was like one of my methods for finding a project this week. So this is Phone Frog. It will talk, it has animatronics built in this frog, and it will talk to whatever Bluetooth audio signal you send it. Wait, watch it. So you can hook it up to your phone, to your speakers, to you have it play podcasts for you. You can have it play YouTube videos, anything that you can connect Bluetooth, which basically anything on your laptop, iPad, or phone. This little tiny frog will sit there and just wah, 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 wah. So in their video, they have this pretend conversation on the phone, and you just watch the frog responding, even though they're having a conversation with somebody else. So for me, I really enjoyed exploring this idea because you and I say you can add Bluetooth to anything and kickstart it. They added it to an animatronic frog.
Oh, and yeah, I love this. You know what this reminds me of? You remember back in, was it the early 2000s? The popular Christmas gift was to give them that fish that was on a plaque, and you'd hit them and it'd start singing at you. Oh my God. I honestly think if they market it right, this could be the next, fish, and everybody would have it because I remember like people were buying those left and right.
It's true. It's true. This one's high though. Their pledge right now, you're up to like $80 to get a functioning phone frog. It's kind. I don't know if it's still in prototype. I think it's still kind of prototypey with what they've got built there. But the idea is just really fun. It's also a Kickstarter staff pick, which is I don't know, with 4 backers and only $200 in pledges. I wonder how they pick those.
So we have some theories on that, but you guys got to wait until later in the show to figure out the theory on how to become a staff pick.
So for me, I wouldn't even mind having a Phone Frog T-shirt. So I would support this project. So it's a back for me at a T-shirt level because I'm not going to spend $80 for Talking Frog. I just like to watch the videos.
For me, it's a track, and not because I think it's a dumb idea. I think this is a hilarious idea. This needs to be made. For me, the only reason I'm saying track is because they're not quite there in the planning process. They don't have a manufacturer yet. They know where to get the frogs. They have a source for the frogs, and they have a prototype on there. But they need to make custom electronics. They don't have the circuit board or the motors and everything in place. So it's a little just too early for me. Plus the price point on there is what's driving me a little bit away from here, but I would say track on this because I think this should be made.
just for the sake of having it. Or somebody should get a hold of it and revamp it. Maybe if they do like a animated frog SDK that you could pipe into and get him to wiggle his fingers at the same time.
I'm surprised they didn't do a hello the morning, hello my darling.
Right? Froggy went in the court and then he's okay. Froggy went in the court and then yeah. No, we could have done tons of frog songs.
Yeah, that would have been amazing on there. But yeah, so it's a back for me. So funny that you mentioned, Drew. One of my favorite lines about Kickstarter projects is how you find a Kickstarter project is add Bluetooth to it.
Yep.
Our actually second project and our last project of the night, not counting our interview, takes that idea. So, Drew, do you know how well you sleep?
I know it's not very good.
Okay. So, there's been devices before where like the Fitbits and other sleep trackers. I mean, I had the Up Band that would kind of track on how you sleep. But,
right.
I don't like wearing things when I'm asleep. Like, I'll wear a watch during the day and stuff. But, like, to me, it's like, it's going to get caught in something because I tend to toss and turn. And, I'm going to break something on there. So,
I like to sleep Rambo, so I want it all off. Everything.
Wow.
Commando.
I just.
I do. I take as soon as I get home, I take this pebble and pull it off.
Your wife is one lucky lady.
All right, moving on.
There. So what else could we use? Well, you sleep on a pillow, right? So we take this idea. Okay, we have a pillow. Let's add Bluetooth to it. What do you get? You get the Think Pillow. It is the world's first adjustable smart pillow. And not only is it a pillow, there's 2 parts of it. Like I said, this has Bluetooth on it. There's 2 parts of it. So there's the Think Sleep, which is kind of the brains of the system. It tracks your sleep behaviors and movements on there. It pairs with an app on your phone, which allows you to, put in things so say up to 3 hours before saying, hey, I just had a cup of coffee. Let's put that into the system. And then it can, do cause and effect. How did that affect your sleep patterns? Hey, I went on a run before I went to sleep. How does that affect things? I took a bath, things like that. It gives you stats on how you sleep, of course. It also uploads it to the cloud. So say, you're worried about your little girls, Drew, and how they sleep, but you don't want to give them a smartphone, right?
Right, no.
Well, so what you could do is have them sleep on this, and then it uploads it to a website. You can check on them and see, make sure your girl is sleeping well, or if you need to adjust things on there. And then it also has a smart alarm clock, which I love. It's because it's not one of those alarm clocks that just go, It detects what sleep cycle in it, if you're in deep sleep or if you're in this middle ground sleep or real light sleep. Within the half hour, you say, so say you say, I want to wake up at 6 o'clock. It will go between 6 and 6:30, detect what phase of sleep you're in, and when it's most optimal, so usually when you're in light sleep, it'll wake you up on there. Or if it notices that you're not getting anywhere close, it gives you a small nudge that will, it's not going to be a large enough nudge to wake you up, but enough to get you into a higher, lower level of sleep where you're not in deep sleep on there, and then wake you up on there. And I also love how you snooze this, because you don't have to reach for your phone. You can just tap the pillow twice and it will go, and it will snooze, and it will turn off the alarm for you. Great, right? Yeah. And of course the app will, so that's kind of the think sleep part. The think pillow part is too. It's not just a pillow; it's an adjustable pillow. So you actually have softness and thickness controls. There's two knobs in the core that you can pull, and it will change the softness and thickness, so you can get it, customized to your same person, because not everybody's the same.
Right.
And then
that's true.
And it also is filled with those space bead thingies that kind of form around
Everything.
So that way you can they say it forms a natural curve that supports your head, so it feels like you're not even on anything.
Wow.
So you put those two together, the app will be able to give you suggestions on how you can get better sleep. And I love it. I don't know. What do you think about this, Drew?
I'm not even sure what to think about this. So tell me, the Think Sleep is just a little pill thing?
So yeah, the Think Sleep is kind of the brains of it, and it's just a little pillow, and I think
does it vibrate? Does it play? Like, is it the thing that the app connects to?
Yeah, it does all the other stuff. So I think you can put it into a normal pillow too, on there. But like, of course, it works best with their the Think Pillow on there.
Yeah.
And I think I remember the battery life being like 3 months or something like that on there. So, and there's a little bit there's a speaker in there too, so it could play music on there. There was a suggestion by your co-host on the Little Big Cast, Robin, and she said it should also be able to sing lullabies. I'm like, well, there's already a speaker in there and it uses a sound, so maybe they just need to make an app or an addition to the app that's like a sleep timer that allows you to lull you into. I mean, it could tell when you're deep sleep, so it knows when to turn it off. Think about it, genius! They gotta add this.
And or like she asked, does it make its own pillow forts out of pillows? Like, can it build itself into a giant pillow fort? That's fantastic.
Well, my guess is if they get version 1 done, it could be possible with version 2. Yeah, why not the fort version?
So here's my thoughts on it, and I've looked at it and found it interesting. I am was before I had kids, I was a sleep nut. Like, I really enjoyed sleep. I was a certified lucid dreamer. But I love sleep so much, and dreaming was a big part of that. So I've always tried out the apps. I tried out every single app that you like use on your phone before the Pebble even came out, where you'd set the phone on somewhere on your bed, trying to get it to, like, again, find your sleep pattern so it can wake you at the right time. And I've never found something that works as well. The Pebble has one as well. Like, it'll nudge you awake at a certain time, but you got to wear the
Pebble.
And I can't do that. Same with the Fitbit. I never picked one up was it Fit? There was another one.
I had the Up Band.
There's a couple of them, and I never got them because I don't want to sleep with something. This is an interesting idea. I guess my biggest hang up right now is that I don't love the look of the pillow. I just don't love the look of it, and it's probably me just being a fashionista. But I look at it and I go, man, it looks like a saggy woman's boobs. I just don't like the look of the pillow. The one with the case. Do you see the one with the case that has like the gray top and the blue bottom?
Gray and the blue on there.
That I like. That I'm okay
with.
Well,
that's a pillowcase cover on there.
That's the case that's on there. But like the pillow itself, I guess maybe just the way that it's like stitched together. It may just, I don't know what it is, but it's something about that. But if I'm looking at this right, you can get the brains of the thing, like the part with the Bluetooth that fits in everything at close to like what, 25 bucks?
So it's 26 New Zealand dollars or New Zealand dingoes as I read it. Sorry, people from New Zealand. But it's about $20 in US.
For one of these sleep pills, early bird, right?
Yeah, so that's early bird. But it's $29 for normal. So
I could put that like under my pillow and still get some of the app functionality without getting the adjustable, flexible pillow part. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I personally, I want to just get the full case on there because I thought it looked cool, and now I'm gonna have to reevaluate how
I just didn't like the. Maybe it's the baby blue that's shocked me. I don't know. Anyway, for me, it's I would back at the pill, at the sleep pill or whatever they call it, the sleep. Think Sleep.
Yeah, the Think Sleep on there.
I'll back at the early bird Think Sleep. They have a $50,000 goal of dingoes, and they're 1,200, but it's a 2-month campaign. I think they'll probably do fine if they get out there, and I can do that. I get it. So that's where I'm at. I'm back at a sleep think level. What are you doing?
Yeah, this one's a back for me because I've always looked at pillows and stuff, and I was always like, there's got to be a better way, and why not add Bluetooth to it? Because I like Bluetooth and everything
Yes, yes, you do.
on there. So that's a back from me.
Excellent.
All right, Drew. So those are our two projects for today, and now we have an amazing interview with the guys from Vanishing Ink. So let's just cut to that. All right, Drew, how about you introduce our guests tonight on there, because I'm super excited about this.
I love when we have guests. It always makes such a great show. It just adds a little bit of flavor, and people get to hear more than just you and I drone on. So without further ado, our guests tonight are Zach Smith and Scott Weiser. We're talking about Scott's project and book, The Vanishing Ink. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on.
So Scott there, you can see on the left, Zach on the right. Scott wrote and illustrated the book that we're going to talk about. And then Zach, you've been helping with kind of the campaign part of the Kickstarter, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Fantastic. First, Scott, tell us a little bit about the book and about what the Kickstarter is for.
Well, the book is a hardcover novel, and it has beautiful illustrations in it, and it's about a washed-up magician who has to save the world from disappearing. So that's kind of the 30-second pitch.
Okay, and you drew all the pictures and you wrote the book. And how long does it take you to write the book?
To write it?
Yeah, to kind of come up with it.
From the idea that I had, it's been over 3 years.
Wow.
Since the initial idea, yeah. But it has changed a lot since then. So the writing process was very organic, very loose.
Very cool.
For a while.
Very cool. And then what is your day job? What's your background, I guess? So are you an author by trade, or what is it that you would say that you do?
I've worked in the entertainment industry as a character animator for longer than I've been writing the book. It's about, and I worked as a graphic designer before that. So, but as a character animator, I worked on Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 and a DreamWorks Dragons Adventure video game and a bunch of commercials for Weber State University.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that is where I met you, is at Weber State University.
Yep.
Which is a fantastic place. We're happy to have you there. So now we're most interested in this project. You launched it today, so this is like what, maybe 12 hours old?
Yep.
And how's it doing? Fill us in. How's the whole campaign going? And then maybe even Zach, if you want to take over and take us through what the future holds for the campaign, how you're going to keep it going.
Well, we're at 3,190 right now. And it has been, how many hours has it been? Like 8?
10 o'clock a.m. we launched, so
it's 12 straight up.
So about 12, yeah. And it got staff pick as well, which was pretty cool. And I don't know what else to say about it. I'm not the marketing guy. He is.
So Zach, I'm just really interested in okay, to get more than $3,000 in the first 12 hours, you obviously had the engine revving. We talk about that all the time on the show. You got to get people lined up, ready to go floating. So tell us a little bit about what you did to get up to this point where you could say, hey, we're going to have fun. We're going to have funds coming in day one.
Yeah, so the moment we launched the project, we had already been building up a network of people, and that Scott acts like he didn't know exactly what's happening there. Scott's the one who's got to take 90% of the credit for that. He's done the friends and family outreach thing, and I've hounded him on it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've said, Scott, you better have me a list of 100 people that are giving us money the moment we push go. That's how this thing works. We need that. We want to jump right to the top. And Scott pushed through. He got hard, and right off the bat, he was able to get tons of pledges coming in. I mean, I think the first time I refreshed the page, it was $680. So yeah, it happened really quickly. Within the first minute or two, we were already the second most popular project on all of publishing, on all of Kickstarter, and we've since maintained that spot. Meanwhile, Scott had been building up a relationship with the person who was reviewing his project on Kickstarter and just kind of talking and asking for feedback, and not being pitchy at all. It was completely, hey, I'd love to see what you do. You guys are the experts. I like Kickstarter, sort of thing. And because he did that, when it came time to launch the project, I backed the project myself, and I have a pretty good influence on Twitter. I reached out to Kickstarter and I said, if this thing doesn't make a staff pick, I'll be completely surprised. At Kickstarter. Kickstarter 2 seconds later sends us an email that says this is a staff pick. Sure enough, for a staff pick, and the badge gets put on there right away. So that was kind of cool. We have never had a staff pick before on all the projects that I've done.
Oh,
so
really?
I tried something different this time, and I landed it. So
yeah, no, that's nice, because I was wondering exactly how that stamp got in there on day one, but it sounds like it was somewhat fortuitous, but also a planned strategic.
Exactly. You never know if they're going to give it to you or not, but you can do a lot to help them remember who you are. And then once it does start taking off, you show that momentum. You back the project. You do the I just backed sort of Twitter thing that Kickstarter's automated scripts will let you do.
Yeah.
And you call out Twitter on it, or you call out Kickstarter on it, and you say, hey, look, this is an awesome project. I can't imagine how this isn't going to be. And you don't directly ask Kickstarter to make it one. You say, I can't see how this is not going to be one. So it was very subtle, and it worked out real nice.
Well, I hope that he was doing it, not me.
just influence-wise. No, that's
I'm
good.
Look at this. That'd be crazy.
That's fantastic. Now, for the front page and the other things, is there an algorithm or something that you can share with folks that is like, if you have this much traction on day one, that it's going to pay off in more visibility, front page, that kind of stuff?
So Kickstarter's policy makes it so you can't just toss your own money into the project. A lot of people used to try to do that. They thought they could game the system. I don't even think it's a good idea to ever game the system, simply because you really want real people who like your project and resonate with you and want to buy your work. So why fake it, right?
Right.
Rather, it's better to build up a network of people beforehand, like Scott did, and then get those people to back as soon as possible. Now, it doesn't have to be as fast as possible, but obviously, Kickstarter's algorithm is updating every single second, where every time pledges come in, you're either going up or down. And that's how it works. It's very, very much live. Like if Scott were to go make $5,000 right now, he would probably be one of the more popular projects on all of Kickstarter. So the algorithm is such that it's about backers, not total money as well. Not one person pledges 10 grand, which is the maximum you can pledge. That's not going to do anything versus if it was 100 people totaling up to 10 grand. It's much better to have a lot more people than it is to have a lot of money.
Good. I'm glad you confirmed that, because I've been consulting and talking to some people on projects, and they were like, we've got $2,000 ready to come in on the first date, and is that good? Should I have them just lump sum put that in, or should we spread it out and have 5 or 6 people? And I believe my response to him was exactly what you just said. It's okay, but if you can have 16 people putting in that same $2,000, it's gonna trigger more, and that makes sense because it's kind of a.
Yep, I think Kickstarter likes the micro fund aspect of it instead of one big guy jumping in and funding you.
Good. Now, Zach, give us a real quick background on yourself. Not only are you apparently a very influential tweeter, but you have you've got your own company of sorts that helps Kickstarter people get their Kickstarter momentum and traction, right?
Yeah, originally I actually wasn't even in the Kickstarter game. In fact, if you talked to me a year ago, I probably wouldn't have even known what Kickstarter was, as crazy as that seems. But since then, I've really immersed myself in Kickstarter, and we've raised about $780,000 over the last 90 days just between various Kickstarters that I've specifically marketed for and ran marketing strategies for. So I started saying, okay, wow, I think we've got something here. Now, how did I get good at Kickstarter? I don't think it was me necessarily getting good at Kickstarter. It was my marketing background, which I've been running internet businesses for about 7 years. I actually got my degree at Weber State University, too, in accounting. Simultaneously to my degree there, I was building a business, and that business turned into something really great. In fact, it won a competition called the Utah Student 25. We finished top 3 there. And from the Utah Student 25, one thing led to another. The business became better and better. I eventually sold that business. I started another business, and that business led to consulting with other small businesses and helping their businesses make more money doing what they love, automating, collaborating, basically our three-pronged strategy of how to grow a business, grow an idea or an invention, or even a book, in Scott's case, into something bigger and greater. And that led to me taking on a client called the Rue Sport, another Utah company. They're actually based out of South Ogden, Utah. And they had created something called the Rue Sport that had done really well. And they wanted to create the Rue Sport 2, which was just a variation on the Rue Sport 1, more colors, bigger pocket, fitting the bigger phones, the iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, stuff like that. And we said, okay, we'll launch a Kickstarter for you. We launched a Kickstarter for them. $115,000 later, I had 100 people knock on my door down to do Kickstarters. And since then, we've just taken on tons of different Kickstarter projects and raised a lot more money.
No, it makes a lot of sense. So if somebody knows how, and like you said earlier, you're not trying to game the system, but if somebody knows how to be the most effective at getting the project out there, marketing seems to be key number one, because you're not just saying, hey, I have a Kickstarter, come put your money in it. The marketing happens outside of Kickstarter to say, everybody get ready. This is where you're going to be able to help me make this a reality. So I like the attitude you're going with there. No, I don't know if you said your website, but your website is funded.today.
Funded.today, yeah. We didn't go the .com route, which is the first time I've ever done that in all the internet endeavors I've done, but we kind of liked Funded Today. get your idea, get your invention, get your book funded today. So we went with funded.today.
It seems to be working. KT and I talk about all the time things that we can fund. How to get a better system. Like it took us 20 minutes to get this Skype going. Can we just buy a big box that puts us all together? So we may come knocking on your door.
All right.
Yeah.
KT, what do you got for questions?
So Zach, I actually have this question because you've kind of been in both markets on there. So in your experience, what is different in all of Kickstarter compared to a traditional model where somebody would go to a publisher and go through that? And and what are similar things between the two? Because I'd love to hear that compare and contrast between the two.
Sure. I mean, not speaking specifically from a publishing standpoint, because I don't have a lot of experience in the publishing book niche. In fact, Scott's is one of the first things I've taken on in that particular genre and category on Kickstarter. But some of the differences I've found are the audience. On Kickstarter, I don't know if you've ever kind of seen the marketing curve where it talks about early adopters and then the mainstream catches on and then late adopters and laggards. And that, I don't know if you've seen that little curve thing where it shows. I believe that Kickstarter is still at that early adopter stage, where it's people who are really, really passionate, potentially techie, but people who just believe in ideas such that they'll throw down money for these ideas and not even see that product or idea come to fruition 6 months, a year, a couple of years later. So in that sense, these passionate people are more likely to support you if you can reach them. Now, Kickstarter, I used to talk to a guy named Ryan Crabtree. He did really well on Kickstarter probably 2-3 years ago now.
The Krabby Wallet.
Yeah, the Krabby Wallet. Everybody knows the Krabby Wallet. It was one of the first successes and got huge press here in Utah too. He raised $320,000, I think. So really good project. He said all he did is put his project on there. I've talked to him a couple times, and every time I talk to him, I'm like, what was your secret? What was your strategy? How did you raise what you did? Apparently all he did is put it on there. Nowadays, if all you do is put your project on there, I don't care if you got the next J.K. Rowling Harry Potter, it ain't going to make any money unless you know how to market it and get it in front of people. Because Kickstarter's simply getting past that early adopter stage, and it's getting more and more mainstream. And at any given time, I mean, in Scott's category right now, there's 700 projects that are live and 180,000 plus projects on all of Kickstarter that are at some level of funding. So you can get lost in the midst of all the other great projects on Kickstarter if you don't know how to get your message seen. But in the same light, because these Kickstarter people are so visible and so active, they're easier to find and target than if you were just trying to reach it on some other platform or on your own website, for instance. Some people say, why do I launch on Kickstarter? Why do you want to pay the 5% Kickstarter fees and then the Amazon fees? I mean, by the time you're done, you got 10% or something before you even start taking home any profit yourself. Well, the answer is it's the community that's already on Kickstarter and that level of third-party trust and credibility that it gives when your product is placed on Kickstarter. When you have that sort of reference, that 10%, even just today in Scott's project alone, it's already paid off because of people that are on the platform that found Scott's work because of the platform, trusted the platform, and backed Scott's project.
Yeah, and I love how you put it in that community aspect, because I was actually looking through your guys' comments, and somebody had already put a comment on there. So they're like, not just a nitpick, but your title's rotated the wrong way on the spine. I was like, whoa!
Yeah, I mean, where would you get that kind of feedback if not on Kickstarter? Yeah, people want your project to succeed, and they've got some money behind it to tell you some things that you might want to consider. So,
dude, I'm interested to know, Scott, how you broke things up price wise, like how you came up with your, was it $12,000 for your goal, and maybe what the breakdown is for the publishing and the push of that.
Well, I figured out what the printing cost would be for several different quantities of books. And so we're going to kind of determine how many books we'll print, depending on how much the cost was. So we just had to create a little diagram of how much it would cost to print the book, how much it would cost to print it or to ship it, and how much maybe a little bit of advertising and other things like giving other people incentives to talk about a project and that sort of thing. So is that
you kind of just put it all out there. I matched it all together and said this was going to take. I was kind of surprised because looking at the tiers, you had your shipping. What was it? Your $20 tier for your reward.
Yeah.
Early bird be the first to get your own hardcover copy, and I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's cool. Great price for a good hardback book. And then I saw that you would ship anywhere in the world, and I said, wow, isn't that usually like an extra $10? Add $10 for a shipping outside of the U.S. What were you thinking? I mean,
it doesn't show you, but once you get in there,
Kickstarter's finally updated some things, so the shipping price actually doesn't show on there anymore.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice from a marketing standpoint. I think Kickstarter's been doing some testing themselves, and just over the last couple of weeks, they've updated things where the shipping is kind of set in there a little differently. So it doesn't tell you the shipping right on the backing. You actually, when you get ready to pledge, the shipping factors in automatically, and it even looks at your IP address and figures out where you're at in the world, and you can adjust it accordingly from there. But most of the time, it gets it right. So we have shipping factored in for sure.
I was gonna say, so if I went in and I said I want that hardback book, and I select that reward, then there is ship reward to US, add $4, ship reward.
Exactly.
Wow, I just saw
It's kind of cool because at that point the person's already determined they want to back your project, and so there's not a huge cart abandonment rate at that point. So
that's an excellent idea, because you're right. They've already said I'm going in because that's the product they want, and it
costs a lot to ship these projects. It's not like we're going to make a fortune trying to get this. The idea is more to get Scott's book out to the world so that a lot of people can read a great book, see a great animator, and then potentially leverage that into a feature-length film or speaking opportunities or all kinds of other things for Scott. So
right. So more than just getting a book out there, this is almost like growing a fan base for Scott. That's part of the price here.
Exactly. In fact, before we started this call, we were looking at one of Scott's friends, Jason Brubaker, and the first Kickstarter he ever did, he raised $12,000. The next one was $107,000. I'm like, how did he jump that high? Well, it's because he built that fan base. And then the second time, he could leverage the fans that loved his first work, trusted him, and said, man, if it's even half as good as his last book, I'm in. And I'm in 10 times more than I was in last time. So
yeah, and since his newest Kickstarter, he's had some, probably can't tell you what they are, but some really, really cool things happen that are going to really be big for his career. So
fantastic. Makes me wonder, like, if I could just kickstart my teaching skills or something. I don't even know. That's all I got. So
this podcast would not be a bad idea. I'm telling you. Look at the video podcast right now. It's the most popular project in all of Scott's category. Raised over $600,000 at this point.
And you could do Patreon too, which is another.
Yeah, we love Patreon. Yeah. We've always thought about Patreon because the Ktdata network. I mean, we have 4 shows, three shows still going live, right?
3 shows live, 4 total on there, plus convention coverage and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're all going to CES. I mean, we do a lot of fun stuff for
all out of my money.
Yeah, I say we're paying a lot of money, but really, KT's paying a lot of money. So no, we've talked about it a lot, and I think we love what we do enough that we might look into that even more. So, awesome. KT, do you have any other questions?
Scott. So so you're doing everything, like the art, the story, and everything in this book, right?
Yes.
Can I just tell you, holy crap! I like your art style. I saw that and I was like, wow, I am already in love with this art style, and the one thing that you come back to, especially in your video, that I love is that you say it's all about the storytelling, and that Drew knows it, and Drew teaches this it's all about the storytelling, and I was like, I'm all in just because of that one line right there.
But some people don't really know what that means even. If I had like an hour-long video, maybe I could start to explain it.
But it's true. It's true.
Because everybody kind of knows there's 3 acts and that sort of thing, and most writers avoid even thinking about story structure, like the 3-act structure and that sort of thing. But I've studied it to a point where I know I can break it down into 13 points, and I can break it down into 6 points, and I can break it down in many ways and really be able to craft a story that is different, that I understand more about the rules after years of study. So storytelling really comes down to, who's your character and what are you trying to prove, Like my book proves, it proves that selfless conquest brings true fulfillment is kind of what I made it as my tagline. But it also addresses, what is wrong with society and what we can do as individuals to build lives that won't crumble, Because that's kind of the worry that we have. We always fear the future. Like, how can I assure that I'm going to have, at least happiness in the future? I might not have riches or fame or anything like that, but at least I want to have something solid, some happiness in the world. So,
fantastic. I love that. Just briefly, real quick, I know on your personal website you've done you've featured the book there, but then you also have a specific site for the book itself that you've been releasing a page at a time. Is that right?
2 pages a day.
2 pages a day that you're kind of letting out there, and all 200 pages eventually.
Yes. Yeah. if we fund at 100,000, I think we'll release the whole thing right at the end of the Kickstarter project. Okay. If not, it'll take about into January, maybe February to release everything. So.
Wow, where'd you come up with that idea? That's genius.
I've seen it done several times.
I can't take credit for that one. Yeah. I was actually the other way. I was like, I don't know if you want to be giving all this out for free. I mean, this is a really good thing. Are people just going to eventually get it for free and not want it back? But in the end, I think it's a great idea because now people can follow along with the Kickstarter. In fact, every new backer, we're messaging, Scott's messaging and telling them, hey, thanks so much for backing. Here's the link to share with your friends and family or someone you think might this story and this book might impact, and go here now and read a couple pages of the book, and by the end of this campaign, you'll be 60 or 70 pages in it already. So, and
it's a little risky because we're really not done proofreading yet, but people really haven't cared about the typos. They're like, it's a great story. I saw a few typos, but I'm fixing those. Don't worry. I mean, they're mostly ironed out now, but
yeah, I love it. And after hearing you guys talk about this project and everything, and I think you guys have fully captured the spirit and aspect of everything about crowdfunding that I've loved. And the reason why, I love doing this show is finding people like you guys, and you guys totally 100% get it on there. I think honestly, your project's going to be one of those reference projects where I'm going to tell people, you need to look at this. These are guys that actually totally get it. They're going in. If you want to be successful, learn from what they did over there. Cause I don't know. People would be a fool not to back your project. I'd have to say.
That's a tweetable right
there. Damn it.
On there. Okay, so on the show we have a rating system on here, so I'll have to ask you, Drew. Is this a back, track, or sack?
Oh, it's a track for me. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's a back. I'd already backed it. I'm getting in there tonight as soon as we're done. I've been watching it climb just a little bit while we've been doing the show. So
yeah, I know.
It's a back.
A couple pledges come in. That was cool. So
yeah, so definitely a back for me.
Yeah, this one is a back for me on there. Now I just have to go through and play the game of what tier am I gonna get, Drew? This is gonna the angst of picking the tiers.
Any exclusives in your tiers, and KT's drawn to that like a magnet. Oh, really? I can get that exclusive.
I actually had people in my office who wanted to pool together and get the $2,000 tier.
Which one is that? So
$2,000.
Or it was actually only even the 1,000, where the style of you in Vanishing Ink. So.
That is ew. I'm gonna just come knocking on your door. Just be like, hey, I'm
only 4 of those ones available.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Or if you want to go all the way, you can spend a day with Scott Weiser, all expense paid trip. He'll pay up to $1,500 hotel and airfare, and you can do whatever you want that day. Sketch. He'll draw pictures with you, see the sights, tour all over Ogden, whatever you want to do. So that's a cool level too.
That's
a fun Ogden. Imagine what you can do with that $1,500.
there's a little bit of money to go crazy with it.
You could even tell them if they saw it on the show, they probably could go visit Drew too and see him in his natural habitat.
Yeah, we could totally meet up.
We could make it a day out of the whole thing. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I'll pitch in $15 for the $1,500. Awesome. You got anything else, KT?
So yeah, I got to ask you guys, if you could, burn one thing into almost every project creator's mind or somebody who's looking to start their project, one piece of advice for them to follow, what would you tell them?
I'll go Scott first.
Well, since I've been in my first day, and it's been burned into my brain, I would just say that, you've got to know that you can't just put a Kickstarter up there. You've got to do a lot of work beforehand and a lot of work, after.
Yeah. Well, he's on the same page with me. I was going to say pre-launch is the marketing term for it, but it's simply preparation. If you prepare yourself beforehand, you're not going to have issues going into the project. Scott did a really good job of preparing himself, and he's done everything possible to make sure this project starts off on the right foot. Because it looks good, because it has that nice head start, all of the flags are green. Everything we can check off every box now. Now it's just up to the Kickstarter community and our paid advertising and our PR and press whether or not how far this thing can go, because Scott's done everything in his power to get this thing started off right. A lot of people think they want to rush it. So my second point with going along with that would be just don't rush your project. Scott even wanted to rush it a couple times, and it's good we waited because we were able to line up a lot more things that allowed for a very strong, successful day. If you try to rush your project, it's not a good idea. Every day I run into someone, because we get probably 20 to 30. I mean, Scott sees my inbox right here. We get 20 to 30 people a day. Zach, let's talk. I want to hire Fund It today. and then I don't get back to them quick because I get 20 or 30 a day. So that's just, it's too hard for a small company to manage. And the next day, Zach, I launched my project. And they've got like a bucks on there. It's like, why did you launch your project already? You could have just, it's like, you got to have a little bit of preparation and planning. They think they've got to hurry and rush it because time is running out, but time is never running out. A good opportunity now will be a good opportunity later. A good opportunity doesn't go away. It's better to prepare yourself now so that way you have everything possible lined up in your favor when you do push go.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice.
Yeah.
That is great advice. Drew, you got any other questions?
Oh, plenty, but it has more to do about what we're going to do on our day in Ogden.
So if somebody gets that and they want to meet Drew, I will drive up there too, and then you can hang out with both of us on there.
Yeah, somebody from the show comes up and join us, and this would be a fantastic way.
And if someone has a Kickstarter idea, I'll jump in on that day too, and I'll spend the day with them, and they can pick my brain and figure out how I've done the 750 grand that we've done over the last 90 days. Yeah. I'll add that in too. So
yeah, that's why I came to this guy with the idea. I knew that if I worked with him on it, that I would make money. But I'm a very artistic brain, and this whole marketing thing has been new for me, and so it's great to have a coach that's like. So now that bachelor level is looking even more enticing.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Drew and I will just yell at you and don't use that on camera, Mike. What are you talking about? No.
That's our consulting. We do the video consulting.
All right.
We've got some good videos today later. So yes, thank you guys. Really appreciate you joining us. I think we learned a lot, and I think anybody that's listening to the show is probably taking down copious notes.
Yeah. If you guys want to find Zach, you can go on to funded.today, which is awesome. That's an actual URL, guys. .today, not .com, not .net, .today. You can find him over there, and of course, you can find Scott's project, Vanishing Ink, on Kickstarter. Just type it in, and I mean, go back it. This is a no-brainer, and usually Drew and I don't force you to go back a project, but we highly suggest you go back this one.
We're bending your arm. It's cool.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, Drew, was that not an amazing interview?
It was fantastic.
I love that interview. It was amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know if you want more of this, or if you're a project creator and you want to be on the show, let us know. You can send us an email at kickcast@ktdata.net. I answer all emails that get sent that way, or leave it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/kickcast, or on Twitter @kickcast, or on Google plus.kickcast.net.
It's still alive.
Yes. Google Plus is a significant place, Drew Tyler.
I still mock it. I mock it in every class, but okay, it's still alive.
It's still alive, or I'm keeping it alive. Maybe I'm the only one.
It's you.
So, those are our ways to contact us. Of course, we encourage you guys to watch live. The chat room has been lively tonight. Thank you, D-Max, Winston, Cousin, and anybody else that is watching out there that didn't say anything in the chat room. I love you all. Our next episode is going to be November 25th, 2014, and you can watch that live at live.kickcast.net. It's going to be pre-Thanksgiving, or in my opinion, Black Friday is a holiday for me. I don't care what anybody says. That's a holiday for me on there. So hope you guys join us in the chat room then. And, other things, Drew, do you got anything to plug? Anything cool coming up on the Little Big Cast?
I don't know. We just play video games, so I need to do some of that. I've got a couple of projects that I know of Kickstarter wise that I'll be sharing probably in the next show that are again friends and students launching albums and other books that I'll toss out there when they get loaded.
You gotta get them on the show. I love your friends. You guys, all the people. I don't.
I've been consulting on some students that one. I think it was today. She actually launched an album. It's called Oaks and Ashes. Her name's Carly McKinnon. But maybe we can get her on the show because she's remastering an entire album, and she's just a kind of folksy guitar singer, songwriter. She's very good.
I love the musicians. They're great. And make sure you guys check out ktdata.net for our other shows. Yes. Cousin's actually in the room. Find out the secrets behind Ramune, or find out what Pepero Day is. Actually, the day we're recording is Pepero Day. You can all find all of that at ktdata.net. Check out our beta episodes. We hope you guys enjoy. And guys, of course, thank you so much, Drew Tyler. Thank you so much. I love you, man. I mean,
thank you. I love you. It's man love.
Yeah, I'm giving you a virtual hug right now, but I'll probably just give you a real one next week.
In a week.
Yeah. We're gonna go look at toys. So
yes. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And see you in 2 weeks. Bye.